Hey guys, okay. Error 228. This usually happens when you're doing one of two actions. When you're trying to create your scav case in your hideout, this is the most common one and the most easily fixable. Or the server rolled back or had a hiccup while you were moving items around. So the easiest one is the scav case. So I'll go over that one first. So when you're going to scav case, let's pretend this is my scav case since this is already built. You would go into your scav case, hit construct, then the error 228 message will pop up and throw you into your stash. So a quick editor note here, I forgot to add. You need a empty scav junk box for this to work. So if you empty a scav junk box and you click construct, it works, perfect. Otherwise, back to the video. If your scav junk box is found in raid, the one that's empty, it's not going to prioritize it since Tarkov always prioritizes non-found in raid items first. So if, pretend this is the scav junk box since I don't have a found in raid junk box, and it is empty, it will not take it. So first, you have to transfer all the stuff in your non-found in raid junk box, and you got to move it into the found in raid junk box. Okay. So after the non-found in raid junk box is empty, you're going to go into your hideout. You're going to enter your hideout. You're going to hit tab, click the sorting table on the bottom right. Okay. So this is still the empty one. Pretend this is empty. Okay. Pretend this is empty and this is full. Okay, so you're going to move the full ones into your sorting table. And this is going to be your other full one because it's found in raid. It will not prioritize it. Okay, so pretend this is your full junk box, this is your full junk box, and this is your empty one. After you move all the full ones into the sorting table, you hit tab again, you go into your scav case, and then you hit construct. And that will 100% fix it for you if you're having the 228 message with your scav case. All right, for the other error 228 message, this occurs when you are moving stuff around in your stash and there's a server error or server rollback or something like that. Okay, so let's say you were moving this corn around while the servers were having issues. You move it up to this space, right? Then you decide to move it up here. Suddenly you move this Mosin down here, and then the server error occurs. This tries to roll back over here, but for some reason this Mosin doesn't revert. Okay, so now you have two items stacked on top of each other. So what's going to happen is when that server error occurs or it hiccups, it's gonna try to stack these items together, but it can't do it. So it just removes it. So this corn is still under this Mosin, but it just disappears since can't stack on top of each other. So as you're moving stuff around, you move it around to any hex that doesn't hit it, and it's quite fine because it hasn't hit these 12 squares. So this ghost balaclava, let's say you had it over here, right? It's not in these 12 squares. This is fine. And as soon as you move it into one of these 12 squares, you let go of it, and then you try to, let's say, go to a trader, right? Go to a trader, and it's going to give you that message. Okay, and it's going to put you back in your stash. So once you go back, this ghost balaclava is going to revert back to its most recent location where it didn't have the error, which is this space outside of the 12 squares. So that tells you where you put that ghost balaclava is one of the spaces is affected. So for you to fix it, you need to move everything out of the affected areas. So this Mosin needs to be removed, but you don't know that. So what I would suggest to you is move everything out from like the biggest spot. If you have a bigger stash, it's going to be a lot easier to fix since you have more space to work with. but I would move everything out of the top line. Okay, clear those like this area, affected area. Okay, so after you move it, you would try and you would try and back out into your stash and go back in. If you get no error, then that's good. So after you get no error, you want to move that ghost balaclava back into that affected spot, and it's going to give you an error message again. So you move it into that spot, you back out, it's going to give you an error. But this time, since the corn is free, it's going to revert the ghost balaclava back to its most successful spot, and it's going to make that corn appear. So you have to just find out what areas are affected. Sometimes there's multiple items like this. Okay. Oops. So this azimuth and corn, sometimes this Mosin will be in this spot. So it's gonna take a lot of moving out and a lot of putting stuff back in. Okay. You have to back out every time you make a change, because if you move too many items at once, you won't know what item or what area is affected. Okay. So what you want to do is you move these. Let's say you're not sure where the affected area is, right? You would move this Mosin up here. Okay. You would back out, go back into your lobby, go back in. If you don't get an error message, then you know this spot with the Mosin, these 5 spots, is safe. Okay. So move it here, back out, go back in, back out, go back in, right? And that's fine. So then now you know that these 5 spaces are cleared. You're going to move these items down. You're going to go back and go back in. Back, go back in. So now you know these 5 spaces are safe as well. Okay. So I would take some kind of like medium or large object and just move it to spaces, clear it. These 5 spaces, back out, go back in. These 5 spaces are cleared. Move on, back out, go back in. These 5 spaces are cleared. Just keep going. And then eventually, after you cleared that area where you got the message, you keep moving it, right? This Mosin is going to go in that corn spot, right? Oops, I think it was here. This Mosin is going to go in that corn spot. But you don't know that. What you see is this, right? You're moving it. So you move it back out, go back in, move it, go back to your stash, or go back to your lobby, go back in, move it, go back to your lobby, go back in, and then you move it here. It's going to hit that corn, and it's going to revert it. You hit that corn, and it's going to move this back, and that corn is going to appear. So it's just a lot of tedious moving around, okay? And you just got to make sure you clear that spot. If you're still getting a message, right? And it's not popping up, that means something is still blocking it. Okay? It could even be this, right? If it was in this position, if this blackjack was in this position, you have multiple items blocking it. This jammer up here, right? This jammer, S-mark, this tac, this ghost balaclava, you would have to move all of it out of that affected area. And that's why this error message is so tedious to fix. Okay, now there is one other one that is unfixable, or one that I haven't found a fix for personally, is when you are editing a preset. So like the Corrent in the Mosin, right? Let me show you really quick. Like the Corrent, where you had this Mosin down here, the Mosin did not revert, but the corn did revert to the original position. So the corn disappeared. So like that, the scar, while you're editing the preset, let's say, does not have a stock right now. Okay, well, it has a stock, but it's folded. So you edit that preset, you move it to the center so you can extend it, right? You put a stock on it, you put a suppressor on it, it becomes 2 spaces longer, right? But the game decides to revert the scar H back to its original position, except that original position is way too long for it, right? So those 4 spaces back here, you can't ever fix. You can't revert it. It will never appear. So what I recommend you guys to do, if you have this one, this is really rare, is you would try to find the affected areas, right? You put an item there, back out, go back in, and then you put an error here, back out, go back in, and then you get an error message. Okay, so you know this space is affected, and just do that with all the spaces. Go over here, back out, go back in. That's fine. Put it over here, back out, go back in. You get the error message. So then I would just quarantine those areas, right? Because anytime you use that, this is especially important for scav runs. Let's say you put you offload your scav and you put some kind of item there, right? It's gonna kick you back to the stash, but it's not gonna kick you back to your scav your scav loadout, right? When you're trying to offload your gear, it's gonna kick you back to your stash and just skip everything. So it's really important that you quarantine those areas. All right, guys. If I helped you, leave a like, leave a comment. Really appreciate it. Also, if you still can't figure it out or can't quarantine the location, go ahead and send me a message. I'm on the official EFT Discord. I'll probably pull up my profile up on the screen right now. Feel free to drop me a DM, or better yet, navigate to the community support channel and mention me, and I will respond to you. And if we both have times that match up, I can kind of give you a one-on-one and we'll figure it out together. Other than that, good luck out there and stay safe.